Welcome back to Voices from the Valley, where we meet and learn from the movers and the shakers in and around the Merrimack Valley. I am your host, John Bachmann, and with me, as always, is our other host,
Ben Tallberg. Nice to see you guys.
Hey, it's great to see you, Ben. Hey, just the other day, I'm flipping through Facebook, doing my thing over there, and somebody was looking for T-shirts. So I made a recommendation for a guy, and this guy, he doesn't just do T-shirts, man. He does the T-shirts. He does signage for businesses. He wraps vehicles. Man, any kind of big graphics, this guy does it. And actually, I think you may have done some business with him in the past.
Yeah, actually, Joe Gannuscio, the owner of Northeast Digital, has been amazing to us. He's been a great friend, but he's also done our signage on our building. He's going to be making our signage out front of our building. And a few years ago, we had a pot shop that is in the same parking lot as ours in Massachusetts, and they were starting out. They were one of the first ones in Massachusetts, ATG. They've been amazing neighbors, but at the beginning, it was like, oh boy, we're going to have a lot of potheads coming in the parking lot. I need to keep branding this. Amesbury Foreign Auto has got to be in their minds before and after they go into this pot shop. This is going to be amazing. So I actually had some signs created by a graphic designer, and I can't think of her name at the moment.
Is it Shannon?
Shannon Carroll, yes.
Shannon,
yeah. Designs by Shannon, right?
Yes.
And so she's amazing. She came up with a few of like really witty pot, weed, reefer type of things, and so we put them on a sign, and Joe actually made those for us. We plopped them outside, and we had so many people stop in the parking lot, in the middle of the parking lot, they're either coming or going, and literally whip out their phone. You'd see them smile and then take a picture of it and then keep going.
They were great.
Yeah.
They were,
so there was our branding.
Oh, Let's Be Blunt was one of them or something like that.
Yeah.
So
Amesbury Foreign Auto Parking. Sorry to be blunt. That's just how we roll was one of them. It was great. And we'll show a picture of it in a second. But anyways, so Joe Gannuscio has done so many things for us, and he's always got so many, he's always doing a project where he's got to learn how he's going to do it. Yeah. He's got to create in his mind how he's going to do it, and then they somehow make these 3D things and all kinds of stuff.
Renderings. There you go.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's a rendering.
All right. I'm a mechanic.
See, we're learning with this podcast too, Ben.
Absolutely. Terminology.
So, so what do you say we just jump right into that interview with Joe and we learn from him right now?
Yeah, it's a great interview.
All right, let's get into it. All right, so we are here with Joe Gannuscio, the president of Northeast Digital Imaging. But the most important roles that you have, Joe, your husband to Diane. You are father to Abby, Emily, and Danielle, and Papa to Yussi and Tanus, right?
That's right.
That's awesome, man. How you doing today?
Doing great, thank you. How you guys doing?
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for sitting with us.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, thanks for coming over.
No, this is a cool deal. First of all, before we get into any of this podcasting stuff, what a cool man room this is, man.
Thank you.
You did this all yourself?
Yep.
That's awesome.
See, this is what a man cave should be, honestly. This is like when I picture in my head man cave, it's big screen TV, pictures, and a lot of memorabilia.
I'm not going to be able to get my head through the door.
Yeah. Well, that's what this is all about. This is for you, man.
Well,
this is for you.
Someday you guys got to come over. We'll have to watch a game or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the Super Bowl is coming up in a little while. I don't know if you noticed. And I haven't gotten an invitation yet.
Ben, I don't know how good my editing will be, so this could be, 6 months from now. So let's not time us up. It's a wonderful summer afternoon here at Joe's.
I'll take a sip of my water and start over.
Yeah. No, but it is it makes. I have a man cave down in my basement. I don't know if I've talked to you guys about that before. No.
I haven't been invited to that one either.
Well, there's a reason for that.
Taking it personal, that's for sure.
But mine's nothing compared to this. But Joe, today is all about within this podcast. It's all about other business owners learning from other business people. Right. And that's what today is all about. And before we get too far into that, I mentioned it earlier, president of Northeast Digital Imaging. Obviously, you didn't come out of the womb that way.
Right.
Give us the Reader's Digest, 2-3 minutes of how you got there. Where'd you come from?
So when I was in high school, elementary school, started really drawing. I really like drawing. I like all sorts of art. Actually wrote a letter to Disney, and I asked if I could work for them. Yeah, as a kid, I said I even sweep the floors if you wanted me to.
Wow.
So anyway, my family's all artistic, so I really did like drawing. And as I got older, I went to Shawshene Tech, Billerica. I went to 2 high schools. I went to Billerica High School in the morning, went to Shawshene Tech in the afternoon. I took commercial art and technical illustrating, and I really liked it a lot. And my senior year, I got in Shawshene Tech full time, and then right away out of high school, I ended up working for an ad agency. I was the first employee they ever hired, but I realized compared to those artists, there's no way I couldn't draw. I couldn't draw a lick compared to them.
Really?
They all went to college. They could, So I worked there 90 hours a week sometimes.
Wow.
I really liked the money, and as it grew into 80 employees, I became in charge of the photo lab, and I really liked it. And I hired people who taught me how to do the work, and I hired really good people. They had a lot of education, college. Again, just going to Shawshene Tech as a trade school wasn't enough. So I worked there for 18 years. And after 18 years, I actually started my own business out of my garage. And when the company it foreclosed, they asked me to go back into business with them, and I did. And I worked there for a year, and we had some other issues, and I ended up going to work for another 10 companies in like 12 years after working for one company for 18 years.
Now, did you have your own company while you were working for them too?
No,
Did you do both?
I brought everything to that shop, and it only lasted a year there. And these are people that I worked for 18 years, and so it didn't work out as a partnership, and for a lot of reasons which I don't need to get into.
Sure.
So anyway, after I worked for all these companies, I decided I could do this on my own, and that was I thought I could do it on my own. So that 16 years later, I'm still doing it.
That's freaking awesome, man. Like,
Yeah.
taking that passion. And so obviously the art piece, that came into you big early on. Are you still hands-on with the art so much these days, or is it more running the business now?
It's running the business.
Yeah.
We're going to get into other questions later on, I'm sure. And one thing that I can say is that I didn't have an education as a designer, and I didn't have an education as a business person. So I'm sort of learning on the fly as I go. But I did everything. I mean, I've sold everything, every type of graphics there are, really. And I really like the industry.
That's awesome. Now, not to completely bogart the convo here, but Ben, I'm leaving you out of this one.
No.
You had the passion for the art, and that's
Right.
why you wanted to do it. You're writing to Disney, which is a good thing, because I
Yeah.
just found out they're
Yeah.
laying off people now all of a
Yeah.
sudden.
Yeah.
But you had the passion for the art,
Right.
but now it's the business. Do you still have the passion for the business now, or is it?
It's way, I'm older now, and I'm getting a little tired of it.
Yeah.
I don't see any way out, and meaning in a good way, a positive way,
yeah.
because at 65, I think to myself, what is my exit plan? I don't have one, or exit strategy. That's what they call it.
Yeah.
So I really don't have one, but it's just it's the day-to-day running a business. But I have a passion for the projects.
Yeah.
Still so.
You could see that in the projects that we were talking about it before we jumped on here, about some of the sports projects you've done, and I want
Yeah.
to talk to you about some of those too.
Sure.
Did you start with the sports projects in the beginning, or
No. It was everyday things just like a manual for Raytheon. You would do a manual at night. Raytheon would take the manuals, make corrections, and you'd get them back the next day making more corrections. And you had,
so this is like a manual that you buy a stereo and you're
Right.
flipping through
That's
this
the
thing,
sort
and
of
you
thing
were
you would do.
making
Right.
these,
Right.
and yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have to come up with the content?
No, I didn't have to do any of that. I just they actually did the content.
It's called copy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
called copy in your world.
Copy and creative.
Yeah.
I didn't know that for
Yeah.
many,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
it was like a year ago.
I ended
right
up
now.
working on the photo end of it at the,
Yeah.
really. But again, you submit everything, you put the book together, the manual together, and they would go you just get them back the next day.
Sure.
So it was just, it just kept on going, but, we got other projects too, I mean.
Yeah, it sounded like
more
a big
fun.
client.
Yeah, it was, Raytheon was the biggest at
Sure.
the time, and that wasn't, that's when I was working for the ad agency.
Yeah.
So,
So you know what? You brought up a good point about Raytheon, massive company.
right,
You work with some big companies now.
right.
Some people probably don't know what it is you do
Right.
at Northeast Digital.
Sure.
Break it down, like from the small projects to the big projects.
Yeah,
What do you do?
We'll do embroidery shirts, and we'll put the logos on the shirts, or we'll design the logo. I mean, that can lead to that exact job can lead to a sign too. We just did one for a company in Maine where we're doing the embroidery on the shirts. They supplied the logo, but they also said, they wanted to know, do we do signs? So we said, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
The guy came down, checked out the shirt supplies and the sweatshirt supplies and the jacket supplies that we provided him with as samples, and then he picked up his sign the same day. He was blown away.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we're really versatile. We can do just about anything. There was another job that we did that I really like talking about, which is it's a donation box for HP Hood. So the milk cartons with the hood top on it, and you
Yeah.
unscrew them and you pour the milk out, whatever. So we did one that was life size. It was 8 feet tall, and it had 2 doors in it, and one was to put the clothes in, and the other one was to pull the clothes out for the donation box. And
Wow.
that went to the Children's Museum in Boston.
Oh,
It was awesome.
it's sitting right outside, right out front.
Not
Oh.
anymore, but that's what we did. That was a few years ago. We actually, that was a great job for us.
I might have pictures with my kids and my nephew that I haven't seen since he was probably like 5 or 6. He lives down in North Carolina. We took pictures out there, and it was
Yeah.
right there.
Yep.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
wild
It was
stuff.
fun, yeah. And, as you guys know, I worked on the Lindt chocolate job, and that, I'm really proud of that job, because when you walk, you drive into Lindt chocolate in New Hampshire, and right at the gate, that's our big sign there. It's 3-dimensional, blue and gold. It's
Yeah.
really nice. So those are the type of jobs I'm really proud of.
Yeah. I love the operation. I've been in, you've been in.
I've been there,
in
yes. I have taken some.
Such a cool operation, and to see like how you go from little street signs
Yep.
to shirts to you're wrapping trucks and
Yeah, yeah,
vans out
yeah.
there. You were wrapping a van the last time I was there.
Yeah,
That's-
we did 11 trailers about 2 months ago. 11 trailers, full wraps. They were, 24-foot trailers, so it was a lot of good jobs.
That's a lot. Now, how did you
Yeah.
learn to do stuff like that? Like, I mean, is this something that you seem to be very creative when
Yeah.
you do these projects too?
I would like to tell you that I do them, but I hire the right people.
Yeah.
And, and if whatever we figure it out. If you have a situation, it has to be custom, we'll figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
So I don't mind taking those jobs on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, did you have a question? Right
I was
there?
going to go more
go.
towards a when you're running a business,
Yep.
Yeah.
profits, labor, time.
Sure.
You have to estimate something that you don't know how this is going to go
Right.
all the way to a final product. How are you doing that on the business side of things? I know you like having a challenge, and it's
Right.
always great to have a challenge. But
Sure.
when you actually have to estimate the thing out and
Yep.
give them a quote and a bid and all of those things that happen,
Well, we have an hourly rate, and and it's most times it's 2 or 3 guys working on it. So I have to multiply that hourly rate
Sure.
times the 3 guys or
Sure.
2 guys, and I will. At the beginning, what I did was I estimated it, and I said, this is what the costs are of the printing.
right?
The estimated time, it's just going to be an estimate for now, because I'm not 100% sure how long it's going to take. But if, say, I estimated 10 hours and it only took me 6, I am going to discount that job.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're talking about a lot of the happy stuff, all the good stuff. You got some awesome projects, but folks that are watching this, listening to it, they're business owners. They have the struggles, and they're trying to learn. And I think that's kind of the purpose of this, is so people can learn.
Right.
Talk about some struggles you've had along the way, some of the tough ones that
Yep.
you've had to face.
Well, one of them, I don't know if this will answer the question, but we worked on a job for the government where we worked for 5 days in 14 below weather. And we were carrying 8-foot signs around. And it was an emergency. There was a blizzard in between those 5 days. It was one day that was a blizzard. We didn't work on that day. But it was so cold. It was minus 14 degrees, like I said. So then, on top of, that was an $80,000 job. I hope you don't mind me saying, what the costs were, but it took 3 months to get paid.
Mm.
And to outlay that kind of cash
Yeah.
was a big deal. And I asked the project manager at the time, I said, I need to get paid in 2 weeks on this job, knowing that they don't take, they take a lot longer than that. And I didn't get paid for 3 months, and that's really true. And then they gave me another back-to-back job on that too, on top of that. And I just had to figure out a way to get through it. And, sometimes you have to sacrifice yourself at your end, expense-wise.
So you had an $80,000 job out there, and then they asked for another job on top of that,
Yep,
which
yep.
might have been. Give me an idea of how much that one was.
That was just about the same amount of money.
80,000 again.
Yeah, back to back, yeah.
And it's not like these signs are free to build for you.
That's right.
Like the material has to be paid for.
It has to be paid for upfront.
Right.
So you get into situations that you have to pay the employees, you have to pay for the stock,
Yeah.
all the utilities.
So talk to me about that then. Cash flow for businesses, I know my size, Ben's size. You seem like you're a bigger operation, if it's okay to say, but I still think you're a small business per
we are
se.
small.
It's a small business. Cash flow is a big deal, and to have 180 or 160,000 to float,
Right.
how the hell do you manage that? Like,
You're upfront with the vendors, first of all.
Okay.
You be honest with them. That's really important. Take a paycheck sometimes, and that's a problem. That can be a problem. But eventually that money comes to you, and you can pay that debt down. And you made those promises to those vendors, and you kept them, and that's really what is key.
yeah, and
So I just wrapping my head around $160,000.
Yeah.
So
Right?
here you
Jesus.
That's
what?
real story.
Yeah, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that there's struggles in a lot of our businesses, of course, and that's the biggest is having the amount of money that you need.
Yeah.
Walk me through. You were on your own. You started this business 16 years ago.
Right.
How did you all of a sudden were able to have? You could carry $160,000. I mean,
Yep.
and I want to get into
Yeah.
the partnerships too. We don't have to get into details, but
Right.
I also want to
Yeah.
go a little bit into that
Yeah.
too eventually.
Yep, no, that's okay. So, there's companies out there that will lend you the money.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
And
Absolutely.
they're very high interest rates.
Sure.
yeah.
But you feel so good when, and meanwhile, the company that owes you the money is not paying, any kind of,
Interest.
interest at
Yeah.
all. So, you're losing money there. So, but you have to hope that you have enough work to help carry the load.
Yeah.
So, it's not just that, two $80,000 jobs back to back. You have to, the way I look at it is hills and valleys, and, you want to make sure, you want to try to even those out. You don't want those downtimes. So, let's just, example, say, you have a sheet of paper that's 50 inches wide. And you get one job on it, it's 16 by 20, you just wasted all the rest of the paper around
Sure.
it. So my goal is to make that whole 50-inch sheet.
Yeah.
This is, hypothetical numbers, but, you want to make sure that that sheet's filled.
Yep.
It's, that roll is 150 inches, 150 feet long. You want to make sure it's all filled. If you can do that, you can make it through this. That's the way I always looked at it.
Yeah. So you were looking at ways of just
Yep,
making sure everything
Right.
was no wasted materials.
Right, no wasted materials. You don't want redos.
Yeah.
You don't want those hill and valleys. You want to make it smooth.
And so, do you feel like you grew from that? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, absolutely. We become a company that a lot of people can rely on. We have customers that send us to their customers without them there. They
Yep.
trust us. We're trusted. And this is my 16th year. We're really starting to do better now than we've ever done before, and I think there's a reason for that. And I think some of the companies have gone under for a reason, and we're staying afloat for a reason. And I think even through COVID, we answered the phones.
yeah.
We answer the phones. Even our competitors that we use sometimes when we can't get something done, it takes 2 days for them to get back to us. We pick up the phone that day, and we usually get back to them with answers, quotes the same day.
Why do you think you're different? Why do you think you do that?
It's just the way I've been brought up. It's, I've been in the industry for 45 years. Yeah, and the company that I worked for 18 years really taught me a lot about that. Service is really important.
Well, we're going to go a little real speak right now.
Sure.
Because that phone thing, it pisses me off. It does. Because I get it the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm asking clients when they call in of, well, why did you decide on us? Well, you're the only agent that called me back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we doing to ourselves? And to hear that,
Yeah.
because for the consumer, for the
Right.
clients, they think we're all like that.
Yeah.
And they're probably saying to you, oh, Joe, that's amazing. You called me back in a day. When
Right.
you're thinking, I probably wanted to get back to you earlier, right?
Right.
It's so frustrating for me.
We're not 100%, but
Yeah.
we're close. I mean, really, we are.
Yeah. So let's go back. So 16 years, successful company. If you could go back 16 years ago and say, Joe, got a little advice for you. Don't do this. Is there anything that you can think back of the first year, 2 years? Man, I really effed that up.
Capital.
Cap-
Did not have enough capital to do this. And that hurt. That was a domino effect, I think, for years.
Now, the capital for supplies, inventory.
At the beginning, I tried to do everything myself. I worked a lot of hours. I didn't think I took a vacation for 7 years. And yeah, the capital wasn't there. I had a partner. It didn't work out. I made sure he got all his money back. And he did not. Nobody would put in the hours that I put in. And trying to get clients at the same time. That was another thing. So you're doing all the work. You're trying to get the customers. You're trying to get the quotes done.
So you're working sales.
Yep.
You're working on trying to build the signs or the
Yep.
whatever you're doing.
Absolutely, yeah.
How many employees are you talking at the time did you have? Was it just you?
It was just me at the beginning.
Okay, yeah. And you had a partner though.
I had a partner that
Was he in? What he or she were they in the business also physically working or doing anything?
one of the first partner I had, his wife worked for me full time.
Sure. So you've got two employees at that point.
Yeah.
You and his wife.
Right.
And the two of you trying to get things
Right.
out the door.
Right, she just office manager.
Office manager, but that's a lot. It's still not
Yeah.
easy to
No,
do.
it's not.
So you're doing all of this
Yep.
work,
Yep.
going crazy.
Yep.
When did you start bringing employees in,
Yep.
and how did you progress? And then still, again, thinking of capital, and you had enough to go.
Right.
So how did that proceed?
That's a great question. So the first person was my partner and his wife came to work for me.
Sure.
I will say that if she didn't do a lot of the legal stuff to get us going, we would have never got going. So I'm so grateful for that. Then for the first year, I worked by myself. We hired somebody, and I did not, because of my partner and going through him, we didn't hire the right person. We were trying to cheap out or not spend the money that we should
I
have.
think a lot of small businesses can
Yeah.
relate
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
yeah. So he did not work out, and and I really like the guy, and to say that he didn't know technically he wasn't really up to snuff, but I hired him, and he did his best, but the person or the people that I wanted to hire we could not afford. So if we had more capital, different story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Tactical question now.
Sure.
Hired this person on.
Yep.
How soon did you realize they weren't technically sound enough?
6 to 8 months.
When did you get rid of them?
6 to 8 months.
Okay, so that's all. All too often I hear, and I've done it myself in the past,
Yep.
of you hire somebody, you realize, oh shit, this is not the right person or
Yeah.
whatever it may
Yeah,
be,
right.
and you feel like I can't get rid of this person. So good on you.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
To see somebody get a grown man get upset like that, it was hard.
And you know what? This is some advice coming from me now too. Is you're doing them a favor though too.
Yeah.
The sooner you take care of it,
Sure.
the sooner it's not a fit. It's never going to be a fit.
Right.
And yeah, it's hard and it's the Band-Aid deal.
Yeah.
But long run, you did them a favor.
Yeah.
And they were able to find what they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
Long run.
So, quick story about this guy. I hire him, and he tells the company that helped set me up with the equipment told me I need a certain software, and I said, I said, absolutely, it's $2,000, which I really couldn't afford, and so my partner comes in, and the guy that's working for me that I hired says to my partner, it's $2,000. We don't need that software. Yeah. And my partner is now upset with me, like I'm going to spend $2,000 foolishly. And I said it was called an Onyx rip. So my partner kind of challenged me on it, and I said, okay. I said, you believe him and you don't believe me. Let me get the person for the that helped us set up the equipment. So, and the person said, absolutely, you need that piece of equipment. What it does is it took the 50-inch sheet of paper and it took the files and would set it up so everything ran efficiently. And he wanted to run one piece at a time. And, we lost money doing that, obviously. So I said, you don't believe me, but okay. Your real answer is right there. So I know that's a little off key, but
no, it's all good.
No, that's the stuff that people are going to learn from anyways. Is it's the struggles, all the happy, good stories. That's it. They sound good. It's kind of selfish for us, man. But it's the tough ones, and they're tough to talk about, especially when you're talking about partnerships. Yeah. Obviously, there was a tight connection there, but sometimes we have to learn.
I didn't learn right off that. I made more mistakes.
Well, let's keep going.
Yeah, let's dig in.
What happened to the next time?
So I bought out that partner, and I got another partner. And this person never stepped foot into the shop.
So before you go into that, why do you feel like you wanted a partner, needed a partner, or
because
anything else?
Capital was one reason.
Absolutely.
And
makes sense.
Yeah, this person had money and was interested in helping, and that was the answer. Capital.
I understand. 100%.
More capital. Yep. When you're trying to do too much, like you're trying to do the sales. You're trying to do the printing and the mounting and the finishing, I should say, and you're trying to do all this stuff. You think you're going to get another partner, and they're going to share the load.
You want help?
Right.
They might help out now twice as much.
Picture my first partner, and his wife,
right?
And she's doing office management, and now I have another person coming in that can do the office management, and they have a vested interest in the company. So,
see you later.
My first partner was one of my best friends. I was in his wedding, and to have it not work out, it hurt for a long time.
Where's the relationship now?
It's back to we're hanging out.
See, that's awesome.
Yeah, we are, and I'll tell you, it's a good story. It is a good story, but when it comes talking about business, we don't do it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I also want to point out that I've said to him, you would have hated me if you had stayed, and I asked them to leave, but they would have hated me for what they would not have been able to go through what I went through to make it where we're at.
Yeah.
So.
And speaking of that, now, how many locations have you changed over the years? Three different locations.
One,
And why, first of all? Second of all, were they just it just made sense?
Yeah. We went from 1,500 square feet to 2,400 square feet to 5,000 square feet.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
great.
Yep. We're moving up.
And how many employees right now?
We're at 8 right now.
8.
Yeah.
Wow. You do all that with 8.
We had 13, and that was another mistake I made. I was doing, say I was doing 1.3 million with 13 people. Well, we're doing 1.3 million with 8.
Yeah.
That's what we needed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you pushing people now? Is that what it is, or no? It's more these people.
They hate Joe
what to
Gannuscio
do.
now.
Right. Yeah.
How to do it.
We got the
You've
right
got the
people.
A players
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
where
And,
you may not have been able to afford them
right.
before, and now hopefully you can afford them now.
And I don't have a partner anymore.
Yeah.
And I still wish I did. So if you guys want to invest,
No, we've heard about those partnerships.
if you guys want to lose money, come aboard.
Now, it's not just the people, though. I'm assuming there are a lot of processes in place here. Is the business now that much more scalable? That if you add in 8 more employees,
Yeah.
are you going to 2.6?
Yeah.
Is that how it's built?
It could happen, yeah, absolutely can happen that way.
Wow.
We're already looking for a really key person right now. And, you know, we need to, if we're gonna grow, we need this person, no question
What
about
type of role is it?
it. It's more of a project manager.
Okay.
Project manager, right.
You catch that project manager, call up Joe Gannuscio.
Northeast Digital.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the project manager, we need somebody to go out and spec out jobs, take photos, take measurements, and be able to stay with the client on the job, and we don't have that, because the jobs are getting more and more technical. So, yep.
If you find that person, which they're out there,
Yep.
and you will,
Yep.
what is then going to be your role, and what
Yep.
do you see yourself in the next 5, 10 years? Where are you going with the business and moving on?
Again, not having an escape route out of the business. Let's see. I have a daughter working at the shop, and you know, that's one of the things everybody wants, a family member working there that wants to take over the business. If she decided she wanted to take over the business, I would want to hang on to the business longer. If we do get a project manager, I can see myself doing more sales. And that's, you know, really what I've always wanted to do. And it's, again, 16 years later, and I still am not doing the sales like I should be. If I was doing sales 75% of the time, we could grow into that 2.6, and we'd be hiring more and more people. You know, meanwhile, you know, my lease runs out in 2 years, and do I sell the business, or do I stay longer and grow the business and even go into another location, or have multiple locations?
Going back to hiring a little bit.
Yep.
The question is always, do you hire skill, which, Ben, for your business, it has to be skill first.
100%.
Or do you hire the person?
Yep.
How is it for your business? Is it a combo of both? Or?
Yeah, it's a combo of both.
Okay.
I think I just told you a recent story where I was really working hard to find that person, that project manager, and I put it in 3 different locations, the ad in 3 locations for more professional people. And then I ended up calling a college, and I didn't realize it when I called a college that you have to get online now and go through this whole forum to hire somebody from college. So I took it to the next step down level, and I called my high school, Shawshene Technical High School.
So smart.
Yeah, and they have classes that teach exactly what I am doing. So we hired a person that's graduating in May and June, and she is now working at the shop.
That's
Yeah.
freaking
Amazing.
awesome.
Yeah, but she's not full-time yet, but she's training, and she does know how to do a lot of the things in the shop already.
And she's already starting to come into the culture before she's even out of high school.
That's right, yeah, yeah, yep.
So grooming them from the beginning and moving on.
Right.
In my situation, we have techs, and the technicians drive cars, and some of these cars can be $80,000-$90,000 cars. And to get a kid out of high school to bring a car into the bay and just do an oil service is risky. Sometimes it's like, how much experience do you have?
Right.
Maybe we'll let you crash a couple cars at the dealership, maybe for a year or 2, Jiffy Lube, maybe,
Right.
and get you, your scars, and then we'll bring you on. Obviously, is that a little bit different, or do
Yeah.
you still want somebody, that A player?
Yep.
What would be that A player that you're looking for?
Yep.
That you're going to spend some more money, obviously.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, well, the person won't have a problem, doing let's say they go to a job site, and they take photographs, and they can now take them back to the shop, put them in the computer, and take like a Photoshop and put the dimensions on the windows or the walls that they, or even do a rendering. So they can actually take the photograph that they want to put on the wall and make it look like it's on the wall with the dimensions. When we go to do a sign, let's say it's Amesbury Foreign Auto, we want to make the sign look like it's there already. So you can then go to the town hall with the dimensions already on there, and it looks like the sign is already, the sign's on there, the dimensions are on there, so you can get a permit to do the sign. So that's the sort of thing, and then can actually stay with you. I might price the job out, but
They're going to oversee.
that's right, they're going
the
to
whole
oversee it
project
right
from
through the
there.
end, right beginning.
Yeah. So you're looking for experience.
Yeah,
Obviously,
yeah,
somebody's
yeah.
going to be around and stuff like that.
The person that we hired from the technical high school, the only issue I see is that when you're in high school, you have all day to get the project done.
Sure.
You go to lunch, you do this, you do that.
If not weeks to
Right,
do these
right,
projects.
right. When they have a project, it's a month.
Sure.
And so I have to relay to them that, we don't have that much time.
Right.
And so you have to stay on top of it. And, you have hours to do
Sure.
it, not weeks or months. Or,
Yeah.
so.
I'm still curious about this sign. Is this going to happen today? Are we going to sign a contract
AFA,
live?
baby. I'm changing my name. I'm changing all kinds of
Is that
things.
happening?
I'm seriously changing the name. Yeah. AFA. Auto repair? I don't know. You haven't heard it here yet, but I'm going to announce that.
It's not official yet.
But
But
we are going to use Northeast Digital when we have our sign out there.
So actually, now we're going to give Ben a little advice, because it's something me and Ben have talked about a few times, of Amesbury Foreign Auto. He's really wrapped in with Amesbury. He's wrapped in with Foreign. You have the Northeast. Did you ever think about rebranding that Northeast?
Sure.
Why and why didn't you?
I thought about you calling it Gannuscio Graphics.
Yeah.
And, but, time doesn't allow for the rebranding for me right
Yeah.
now. But I have considered it, yeah.
Who the hell could spell that,
I
too,
know, yeah. Don't go Gigi.
Gotta go.
Graphics, yeah. I don't know, yeah, gotta go, that's good.
Yeah.
I've considered it. I've changed my logo since the beginning. And I wish I had a photograph to show you that, but I don't.
Well, where'd you come up with Northeast Digital? Did you buy out somebody, or
No, not at all. It's just an idea we came up with because we're in the Northeast.
Sure.
And, we just liked it, it just went well.
digital imaging?
Yeah, and
all
that was
makes
from
sense.
2007 when
Sure.
we started that, yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Excellent.
Yep.
John, what do you got? What else you got?
Well, I'm trying to be mindful of Joe's time here,
Sure.
too, and even the audience's time. We've been going on. I think this is going to have to be a two-parter.
This might have to be a two-parter because I got one other question.
Oh, before we start doing that,
Yeah.
you go. Go.
I don't. This could go off the rails.
Here we go.
This one. So, go back to. You have a family.
Yep.
It's amazing, and you have how many daughters?
At 3.
3 daughters.
Right.
Names?
Abby, Emily, and Danielle.
We've got those already.
Yep.
The kids, the grandkids'
Yeah.
names. Those
Oh, I'm gonna start crying.
I can't even start to pronounce.
How did I do? Did I do
You
well?
did Yusuf,
Yusuf.
or we call him Yusi,
Yep.
which is in Lebanese is Joseph.
Okay.
And then we have Tanus,
Yep.
and in Lebanese is Anthony.
Okay, and so now you keep saying Lebanese, so it sounds like that's a Lebanese
Yep,
name.
yep.
You have a Lebanese son-in-law.
Yep.
I just watched the movie. Did you guys see the movie You People with the new movie with
My old man told me about it. He said it was terrible, but it was Eddie Murphy and
Eddie
Julia
Murphy
Louis
and-
Dreyfus.
Yes.
Yep.
Exactly. So it was a great concept though.
Yeah.
And my question to Joe is, we grow up a certain way. We have certain cultures, things like that. Now you have your son-in-law who has this
Yep.
culture.
Yep.
And if you haven't seen the movie, I think it's brilliant. I think it's amazing in the way that they had an African American into a white family and the two mixing and the families and how you overcompensate
Yep.
for culture
Yep.
and stuff. Did you find yourself overcompensating or just in weird things, or were you just like
Absolutely.
cool?
I was very cool. I'm very cool with it.
Yeah.
I love his family. Their family reminds me of my family. My family is Italian, first generation. My grandmother and and then my parents were both born to Italian immigrants. They came over, and when every Sunday we would go to my grandmother's house, and after church,
Yeah.
and just all my cousins would be there. It was awesome. So now my daughter doesn't experience that until she marries this family,
Yep.
and when they go to brunch, 30 people go.
Wow.
It's awesome. And they have a very big family, and it's great for the kids.
Did you start learning some Lebanese stuff though?
No. No, but I totally respect them. They're so hard workers.
That's
They're
awesome.
such hard workers.
That's
Yeah,
great.
they're really great people.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Good for you.
So I have a real important question on that then. Your Sunday dinners,
Yeah,
is it sauce or is it gravy?
it's sauce.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
There's some Italians that they freak out about that. It's
Yeah,
gravy.
No, it's
No.
sauce. Yeah.
Okay.
We've used gravy too, but sauce is the most important thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Good for you.
No, that's awesome. And I remember, so when we were getting together every week and everything like that, the passion you had for your grandkids, man,
Yeah.
that was
yeah.
freaking awesome.
I have a lot of passion for them.
A lot of pictures, Facebook
Yeah,
pictures, which is
I,
great.
I went over there the other morning, like, I'm leaving my house at 7:30, and I don't have to be to work for an hour, you know? So I go over there, and I bring munchkins over there. I brought them some toys I bought up in New Hampshire when I went on vacation, and just to see them, it was awesome. You know, and I looked at my oldest grandson, and I said, "I love you." And he goes, "I love you." And just that feel is so awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And that's one of the freedoms that you have
Yeah.
as the owner,
Yep.
of course,
Yep.
but having that time, of
Yeah.
course, and more time
Yeah.
is a goal, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing we talked about with this podcast,
Sure.
yeah, all the business stuff, all of that, but Ben and I think we both talked about of we're putting something out there,
Yeah.
and that our kids are going to maybe see this, our
Yeah.
grandkids, maybe great
Yeah.
grandkids are going to jump on YouTube and see this stuff, and
Yep.
I may never meet them, you may never meet them. Let's talk about Yussi and Tanus.
Yeah.
What do you want them to think about Papa in the long
What's your
run?
legacy?
Yeah, what's your
the
legacy?
you're leaving behind?
So, first of all, see that piece of paper, that stack of paper right there by the left of the TV?
Yes.
It's right on the shelf?
Yeah.
That's a journal. I started in 2015.
Wow.
But it's all on my computer. The only reason why it's printed out is because I'm starting to duplicate some of the photos. So I actually talk about both sides of their family. I talk about everything from politics to my great-grandmother is in there, photographs of her. And so, you know, I want them to know that, you know, I cared about the family a lot.
Yeah.
That's a big deal to me.
That's smart.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It takes effort to do that
Yeah,
too.
I work
Way
on that
too
journal.
lazy.
I try to work in the journal at least once or twice a week.
Wow.
But even if it's for 15 minutes, I love to add photos. I love to talk about the photos. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have a lot of fun with the kids.
That's
Yeah.
freaking
That's really
Yeah.
cool.
Like-
I just want to show you something outside when you have a second that I'm building for them. Do you know about that?
I saw the plane years ago or last
No,
or whatever
no,
it was
I-
that you built that, but I don't know anything else.
There's a
no.
fort out there,
Yeah.
and it's a round fort, and I built it out of one of those what do you call it? The spools, the big spools.
Oh yeah.
It's
the cable spool
Yeah, the
thing.
cable
Yeah.
spool. So I took the bottom and the top.
Yeah.
I put 2x4s in it. Wait until you see it. You'll see it.
Nice.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We'll get video of that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
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 But I love the journal thing.
Yeah.
And I've been talking for years now. Obviously, video is my medium.
Yeah.
And I've been saying, you know what? I wish that I would have sat down with like my grandfather or even my old man right now. Sit down and because we talk about stories and it's like, shit, I didn't know that. And I would
Yeah.
like other people would like that. Am I going to remember that after? Probably not. It's
Yeah.
I should sit down and do this.
Yeah.
And
You
so I got to hand it to you, Joe. That's freaking awesome.
It
man.
is.
I met a guy at my daughter's wedding in the bathroom of all places. He told me that he started emailing his kids, and they were like 4 months old. He was emailing me, so he made an email for them,
Yeah.
and he sends them emails right now. So
Like a
Yeah.
journaling
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
hey, today I
Yeah.
saw you
Yeah.
lift your head up.
yeah, lift or brush your teeth or
Yeah,
whatever.
sure.
You
And
know.
we went to wherever.
Yeah.
I do want to. I know
I know,
you're
I know.
wrapping up and all
Yeah.
that stuff. I got to ask you about Mount Washington. You were just there recently,
Right.
And that was when it was 108 below
Yeah.
for wind chills or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you're nuts. First of all, for even driving any
Yep.
time that day,
Yeah.
that weekend.
Yeah.
But how was that experience?
It was great. You know, it was so beautiful. And we drove from the hotel where we stayed that night that it was minus 108 degrees at Mount Washington. It was minus 27 at our hotel.
Uh-huh.
And that was right on the base of Mount Washington. We
Yeah.
stayed right at the base.
Yeah.
So you get up, you know, at 3 o'clock in the morning just to
Yeah.
look out the window, and there's Mount Washington right there.
Wow.
So we drove up to the Canadian border, and we were just like we're dressed now. We got out of the truck and took pictures, and jumped back into the truck. It was the frost was on the trees. It was just gorgeous.
So, one last question.
Sure.
Did you drive a truck? How'd that thing run? Because I'm wondering, because I didn't know it changed it. Did thing start?
It did start.
And you took a truck? Holy
I
cow.
took my truck, but I will tell you that one of the tires went to like 29 degrees. I mean, the tire pressure went to 29.
Yeah,
29,
yeah.
So, I was worried about that, and it went, vroom, started right.
So let me ask this: 108 below zero.
Right.
First of all, that's ludicrous.
Yeah.
How does your therapist feel about it? Like, you're some kind of special mental. Like,
Yeah.
That is a great entryway into some of Joe's stories. I've heard some of Joe's stories too, of hiking alone, like doing these amazing adventures that you will just pick up and go.
Yeah.
And so tell us some of these stories. You gotta give
One,
some stories.
I'll tell you two stories that I both on the same mountain, Mount Lafayette, and it's
I apologize. That's mine. Sorry.
son of the Navy SEALs train on Mount Lafayette. And anyways, so I've climbed it maybe 15, 20 times, and I've done a lot of times by myself. And the last time I did it, I was actually at BNI, and I did tell this story a little bit, quite a few times. But at 64, I think it was 64 when I did it this last time, and I actually was making great time, and I was tired, I won't lie, and I was by myself. And I've been on the trail a million times, so I do know it really well. And I was coming down the mountain. I only had almost 3 miles to go before I was back to the parking lot. And it was 5 minutes past 4. And I was coming down the mountain, and it was getting late, and I fell. I knocked myself out, and I was probably out for over an hour. And I woke up, and I thought I just bounced right back up. But I looked at the time. Now, if you figure you're going 1.5 miles an hour, so in 3 hours you're down the bottom, no problem, right? 5.5 hours later, it was pitch black. I could barely walk, and I was confused. I called my wife. The first time I called my wife, my phone was dying. I didn't tell her. The second time, I told her. I said, I'm lost, I'm confused, I have no idea where I am. And I started going back up the trail. And so finally I found my way, and at one point I was hallucinating, and I thought there was a mountain line in front of me. It was a rock formation. And so anyways, I got out of that one. But another time I was up there, it was minus 50 degrees below zero, and the wind chill factor was minus 50. And I was up there with 2 other guys, and we had left Bill Ricker at 9 o'clock in the morning. And we got up there at 11, and we hiked, and we got up in the top of the summit at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And the wind was blowing, so we set the tent up, and the 3 of us are huddled in my tent, and you could just go like this in the tent, and the frost would just fall on you. And the next morning, we got up, and I don't think we slept. We got up, and we slid down the mountain, like on our butts, because it was so much snow. And we got down the bottom, we were scared, cold, it was just awful. And this guy comes up to us and he says, "Where'd you guys stay?" We said, "We stayed in the tent up there." And we were thinking about breaking into the Green Leaf Hut. And he said, "Well, it's a good thing you didn't, because I would be finding you guys, because I'm like a trooper or something like that." And so we had no idea, because he wasn't dressed that way, but it was just one of those things.
Was it Park Ranger?
Yeah, Park Ranger,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
And he just came out of the blue type of a thing, came over to our car, was like shocked that we.
So they wouldn't let you into that place,
No,
even if you're in a
it was
tent?
all boarded up. It's
Oh,
all
it
boarded
was.
up.
Okay,
There
so
was
it would
another.
take
There was
some
another.
effort.
There was 2 couples that were sleeping up there too, but they had a heat. They brought a heater with them.
Yeah.
So they had.
And you
their
didn't
tents
attack
locked up.
them and
No.
steal it? Or
steal
anything?
it,
Oh, come on.
leave them to die.
But that was
No, not die.
the scenery at night when you got up to go to the bathroom. The stars were out.
That's
It was
amazing.
so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah,
But just like it could have been a killer right there.
yeah.
So-
Any advice now
Any
to
advice?
people?
No, I don't have any advice. I don't.
You're on your own.
No, I mean, what can I give for advice? I mean, I
Don't
go by yourself.
go by yourself.
Yeah, but I'm like one of those guys. Like if I know that you would out hike me, I know you would out hike me. I'm just a slow hiker.
Yeah.
I took my nephews. I have photographs all around here of them.
So you're worried about like not keeping, like slowing somebody down?
Yeah, exactly. my nephews were in one of the photos. I can show it to you. And they got down a half an hour before me.
Yeah.
A half an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm hiking anyways by myself.
Yeah, but I might be able to out hike you. Me personally, though, I don't think so.
I wouldn't
at
be
this
able to,
point.
no.
But
No, you
it's
couldn't.
more of the act of being out there,
Yeah.
inviting, or like, let's
Yeah.
go together. I was a runner, and
Yeah,
I can definitely outpace my wife.
Yeah.
But I loved just running with her,
Right.
and that
Yeah.
being up there, and that's what it was
Yeah.
all about.
Yeah.
So, I
No,
don't know.
you would be out hiking me. I mean, let me put it this way. I'm coming down the mountain the last time,
Yeah.
and there was a mother with her baby in her sack, in her, that sack
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And her husband walking the dog, and they freaking passed me. I ran a 5-mile race one time, and a nun holding a little girl's hand passed me. Okay.
I don't care
I'm
what
slow.
I don't care what you're saying though. All I've learned in this entire podcast is you're more of a man than I'll ever imagine that I could be.
Yes,
Like,
absolutely.
he's Jeremiah Johnson. He's a mountain man, for
Yeah.
Christ's sakes.
I mean, to start your own business, to
Yeah.
go out on your
Yeah.
own and do that. Some of the adventures that you've done, that you continue to do, it's really amazing.
I appreciate hearing that, but I don't look at it that way. I just know so many people that do far more than I do. So
Yeah.
You impress the hell out of me.
thank you.
One question to kind of wrap this up.
Sure.
Because we got to wrap it up,
Yeah,
right,
wrap
Ben?
it
We
up.
got
Wrap it
We
up,
got
for
it. We got
Christ's
it.
sake.
Who are some mentors, people you look up to in the community?
Yeah. Well, you guys, I think you know this one guy. His name is Donald Jarvis. Do you know him?
Oh yeah, good buddy of mine. Yeah.
I just got to meet him in the past couple of years. Oh, I'd say a year and a half.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe 2 years. That's stretching it, but I did a project with him at his high school.
The POW
Yeah,
chair? That was you?
Yeah, that was me.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, no. The reason why I've never seen somebody so positive,
Yeah.
and helping people out, that impresses me. Like, he doesn't seem to care. It's not about the money or the fame. It's just that he likes helping people out.
Yeah.
He told me a couple stories about his life and what he does. I'm like super impressed with the guy.
Yeah. He's a guy we need to have on here too. Although I'm not too happy that he left Haverhill to go down to Billerica to be there.
Yeah.
He's a veteran service officer
Yeah.
down in Billerica now.
Yeah.
He's amazing, dude.
He is.
I love him to death.
And
Yeah.
this is what's ironic about even that. I know the guy, he took his job, that the guy had just passed away about, within the past 8 years, 10 years, but, or less. But I grew up with his son, so I knew
wow.
very much about, I'm from Billerica, so.
Yeah. Mr. Shawsheen over here.
Yeah, true, yeah. But can I just say about one other guy? There's a couple of people. My father is one of the people that I'm really, my father passed away in 2012, but that carving right there is his.
Wow.
He assembled this, but he's carved so many things. He's amazing. That horse right there, he carved that.
Well, obviously, you look at what you do now.
yeah,
You've
but
taken a lot from him.
The point about him was, like, first of all, way more talented than I am,
Sure.
seriously.
Okay.
And the patience that he had
Sure.
for that sort of thing,
Yeah.
the craft was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and lastly, there's a guy named Al Letizio, he's a new client of mine. Super, what's the word I'm trying to say? He's successful, super successful. He's involved in politics, he's involved in charities, and he does, he brings me a lot of work. And it's never about the money for him. It's like if I say, it's $2,000, he doesn't even blink an eye. He's the one with the 11 trailers.
Wow.
Extremely wants exactly what he wants. I mean, the word I was looking for was going to be fussy, but he knows what he wants.
Yeah.
Particular.
And he doesn't care. It's not, he's not going to bicker about the money. And I'm just super impressed with him as he runs his business. It's amazing to me. That's about it, really. I have other people, but we could be here all night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ben Tallberg.
We all look up to Ben.
Only because I'm tall. That's it.
All right, man. Well, people are going to take a ton out of this. And again, we're going to have to get together with Joe again because the stories are amazing. But if somebody wants to get in touch with you beforehand, what's the best way they should reach out to you?
Well, there's two ways, which was, by email, joe@ne-digital.com, and also our phone, 603-912-4460.
Awesome, man. I thought you were going to drop something like TikTok or Facebook or something like that,
keep
too.
going, yeah.
Come on.
What do you got?
Come on. No, this has been awesome, man.
I hope so, but I wouldn't think so.
I think you're going to surprise yourself, man. Yeah.
I love some of the stories. I love your history coming up. Anything that you want to add?
No,
Any stories?
I have a ton of them.
I
So
know you do.
I'm not gonna
All right.
go there.
All right, Ben, that was an amazing interview. Not only did we learn about Northeast Digital Imaging from Joe, but the dude's a mountain man, too.
Yeah, he's got some stories.
What an interesting dude.
He just ups and goes and does things. It's a little dangerous to me, but
I'm still blown away about, what was it, 108 below with him and his wife out there?
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
come on, let's get real, folks.
I barely got out of bed.
Right.
Never mind, drove 7 hours or wherever to hang out.
Well,
Super cold.
Well, think about it. When we came in the studio, and this is real speak now for you, we come into the studio today, and we're talking about, it's a little chilly in here.
Yeah. What was it, 57?
Yeah, it's a little chilly.
This is crazy.
Yeah, he was only 165 degrees colder than us.
Good old Joe. Joe's awesome.
Good old Joe. But as always, we're going to have Joe's contact information if you want to reach out and learn more from him. But Ben, before we wrap things up,
Yeah, buddy.
I was speaking with a client the other day, and I figured you're the guy I need to be speaking to about this. They were talking about the check engine light. And
yeah.
I'll be honest, I fake being a car guy. I'm
Yeah.
really not. Just because I watch NASCAR does
Clearly,
not make me a
you
car
are
guy.
not.
No, clearly. Let's talk about those check engine lights, because the only thing I know is it pops on, and then somebody behind the curtain plugs in a machine, and all of a sudden they know everything.
Yeah, that's amazing that you said that. That's a great feat for me, because that is not true. We do not know what's going on, to be honest with you. There's a check engine light, but there's hundreds of possibilities on what's going on. It's unfortunately, it's a fallacy that is very common. The check engine light comes on, the mechanic or the technician just has to walk over to the car with this super cool scan tool that is expensive. Everybody knows it's expensive, but it's going to pop out a code, and we're going to go, bingo, I know exactly what sensor it is. I'm going to go to AutoZone, I'm going to grab that sensor, and bam, I'm going to be on my way. Why do I have to pay for that? The truth is that the check engine light is basically a computer going, hey, John, there's an issue here, and the exhaust that's coming out of your tailpipe there could be affecting the environment.
Okay.
So the check engine light just goes on and goes, whatever's coming out of your tailpipe right now is possibly dirty. That's it.
That's it.
Now there is a little bit. Obviously, there's now a code, and we'll read the code. But a code that your engine spits out or your vehicle spits out is kind of like a zip code. John, if I asked you, could you find my house if I gave you my zip code?
No.
My zip code is 03826.
Couldn't find it.
Could you find my house? No.
I could, because I know your address. So I'm going to find you.
Yeah, you do know my address.
Not
but
with
let's pretend that you didn't.
So a zip alone, no.
Zip alone,
I
you
wouldn't have a
can't.
prayer.
And that's what we're getting out of your vehicle a lot of times is the zip code. Now we have to drill down to find out, well, what neighborhood might this be? What street? Let's just zero down to that. And that's where we have to do some diagnostics, find out, if there's power, grounds, things like this. From there, we might have to figure out what number house that I might be at. So there's a lot of drilling down to find out what's really going on, and that's what's diagnostics. There's scanning the vehicle, and then there's actually taking the code that comes up and performing diagnostics. So that check engine light could be hundreds of codes. Then there's not only the check engine light, there's the ABS light, there's the tire light, there's the washer fluid light. So there's a lot going on in that dashboard.
Yeah, so thanks. You just made it more complicated.
It's very...
I really appreciate that.
I tried to, but I broke it down somewhat, right?
You did.
Can
You
find
don't
my
know.
house?
You plug it in, you don't know.
We don't know. We don't
There's
have the
still
answers.
more digging that you need.
A lot of times
I
there
get
is.
it.
Yeah.
I get it.
So, but, for no reason at all, something popped into my head. And I was just wondering, I want to bring this back over to you. Thank you for the check engine light question, but I got a question for you.
You got it, man.
Just recently, for, again, no reason at all, I was on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, I was on Facebook, like literally no reason at all on Facebook.
Well, what a great episode. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thanks for joining us.
Close it up. I just want to let you know on Facebook. So I saw this kid like just playing hockey in his backyard, like scoring goals like crazy.
Boy.
No goalie, and it was just him in the net. But he was scoring like crazy. But I was like, wait, John's house he's got a hockey rink in his backyard.
Yeah.
Is there? I mean, thinking insurance-wise, I know trampolines and things are like, whoa, there's some insurance risks. How about a hockey rink?
Yeah. Thanks for pointing that out. I hope my insurance company isn't listening right now.
Sorry, buddy.
No, so in insurance speak, that's what's known as an attractive nuisance, meaning that it looks good, let's go play with it, and now I'm going to get hurt on it. So some insurance companies really hate those risks. Some are okay with it, and some just don't care. You brought up trampolines. I work with some companies that are, hey, that's fine. You can have that on your property. That's fine. I have others that say, we're canceling the policy, finding them new insurance in 7 days. Ice rink's very similar. There isn't hard and fast rules just yet, even up here in the Northeast. And naturally, I pick the winter when it doesn't freeze that often. So we've had like 7 or 8 skating days this winter.
He looked a little slow when he was skating around.
He was in slush at that point. But yeah, you're all welcome for the wonderful warm weather we've had this week, this winter, because it's purely because of me wanting freezing conditions. So that's us. But back to the insurance side of things. Yes, some people may not like it because it's a risk. Mm-hmm. And I joke around that if any of the kids on his hockey team or friends are coming over to skate on it, their parents are going to be signing a waiver because I'm not being held liable for them slipping and falling and breaking their necks.
Yeah.
But that's stuff you need to be mindful of. Any of those toys or pools in your backyard is making sure, like around my yard, I have a fence that goes all the way around that can be locked as well if we're away for a long period of time, to make sure no randos are going back there and playing on it.
That brings up a great point, though, that I never, ever thought about. I've had a house for 20 years now, but for the first 15, I didn't know my insurance agent, my insurance agent. Let me slow down. Insurance agent. But knowing whether I was at risk having that pool, it's an above ground, but we had a deck that went up to the edge, and I didn't have a locking gate. I didn't have anything, but I lived in New Hampshire, and I know New Hampshire might be a little bit different than Massachusetts and so many things. So having that insurance agent, not to just say, hey, I've got you, thank God, but at the same time, thank God I got you so I can talk to you. It's so important.
Yeah, it is. It is. And thanks for bringing that up. So hopefully my policy doesn't get canceled now. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that.
Just revisit it.
For that, what's basically amounts to a frog pond in the backyard right now, because it's not an ice rink. It's water again. Yeah, you canceled my insurance policy purely for that question.
Well, we've got next winter.
Yes, we always have next winter.
Get it back.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Well, awesome. Thanks for asking that question. That's a good one, and it's interesting how insurance can play into some of these things. So
absolutely.
But back to the interview with Joe. It was a fantastic interview. Love chatting with him again. Again, his contact information is going to be included with wherever you're finding this podcast as well, too. So, Ben, thank you as always. This was an awesome interview.
Always a pleasure, John.
And we'll see you guys next time.
This has been another episode of Voices from the Valley. If you'd like to be a guest or know someone that would be a great guest, send us an email at voicesfromthevalley@gmail.com. Want to learn more about Ben Tallberg and Amesbury Foreign Auto? Head over to amesburyforeignauto.com or call 978-388-5959. Want to learn more about John Bachmann and Norwood Insurance Agency? Head over to norwoodinsurance.com or call 978-372-5921. Thanks for tuning in to Voices from the Valley.